A client just called me right after her aunt passed away. And her first words were, she just passed and I don't know what to do. And the good thing is her aunt had this thing called a living trust. The problem when someone passes away is their estate, which is their real estate, their cars, their bank accounts, insurance, and all that stuff. That becomes the estate after they've passed. And what happens to that estate? Because they can't, obviously they passed away, so they can't really make decisions on what to do with the estate. There's two ways that the estate can be taken care of. One is in probate, and the other way is with living trust. Okay, and living trust is pretty much a recorded set of instructions of what to do with the estate after you pass. Okay, and if there's no living trust, then there's probate, and then the entire estate goes over to a county judge, right? And the judge goes, all right, I got all this real estate, cars, and money. Since there's no instructions, I'm gonna figure out how to divvy all this stuff up. So the first thing they do is they take half of it, right? They take half of this and they keep it for themselves. And anything else with the estate that's left over after the judge takes their cut goes back to the heirs, the family, and any creditors and all that stuff just to pay them off. So, yeah, probate sucks. And luckily, my client, she did have a living trust and she was 90% covered. But here's the problem. When you have a living trust, you're supposed to have the living trust own your real estate. Yeah, I know, it's kind of weird, right? You bought this house, it's under your name, like John Smith or something, and now you have this living trust, and now you have to tell the county recorder's office that, hey, my name is John Smith, I got this living trust thing, and I want you to change ownership from John Smith over to the living trust of John Smith. So the problem is, my client, she never did all that stuff, right? Like, she did all of that work, 90% of it, setting up the trust deed, but she didn't roll it into the ownership part. And that's where myself and the niece, who's the executor, that's where we're at right now, and I'm going to try to help them figure this out. Okay, so this is what we did to come up with a solution here. And before I get started, let me first start with this. I am a California real estate agent here in San Diego. I am not an attorney. This is not legal advice. Please contact your own attorney and go with their consultation. Here's the interesting thing. The aunt, she actually identified her property where she lived, her primary residence, in the trust deed twice. Okay, if a judge or a lawyer were to look at the living trust, now there is intent to have the living trust own her primary residence. It's just she never made that happen from the living trust over to the county records. Since there is intent to put that property in the living trust, then we could file a Heggstad petition. What happens is you can have a lawyer kind of review the living trust and then say, like, there is an intent to put the property in the living trust. If the judge sees that and agrees to it, he says, yeah, this is a clear Heggstad petition scenario. The living trust has instructions for the executors to take over and divvy up the property however the aunt wanted to. So everybody's happy. The Heggstad petition was maybe a couple hours worth of legal review, but it's not the full-blown process like probate. So if we can set this up, I think this is actually the clearest path for my clients to move forward with the estate and take care of their heirs and their creditors and just have a clean slate and have it done properly according to their aunt's wishes. I was there to be their second brain, and I am grateful to be of service this way because, they've been longtime customers, and it's more about taking care of my community, my clients, my friends, my family. And if it's just a second brain, I'm a second brain. I'm happy to do that. So that's what we did for this scenario. Here's the learning lessons. By the book, it would have been best if the aunt put ownership of the property as the living trust. Okay, so the living trust owns her property. Okay, that would have been best. It didn't happen, but that's the ideal situation. That's option number one. So the second option is what we're going through is there is a living trust. The property is not inside the living trust. My clients had to do the Heggstad petition and try to get a judge to agree with it. They can roll that property back into the living trust and then move forward from there. The third option, it's less powerful, but it's really cheap and pretty easy. It's called a TOD. It's called a transfer on death. It's a document that's still filed with the county of San Diego. And what that says is upon your passing, the property will go directly to whoever you identify on that transfer on death certificate. Kind of like a mini living trust, because there's a little set of instructions that tells the judge exactly what to do, at least just for your real estate part. It's pretty easy. So I highly recommend the transfer on death just because you don't need any lawyers. You could do it yourself. If you still need help, I can help you, direct you to some people who can help you do that. And a couple $100 just to have that thing in place, I think it's awesome. The living trust route, some lawyers will charge you maybe $2,000 or $3,000. You could DIY it yourself, the living trust, for maybe $500 to $1,000. But again, it's your level of comfort and how complex you want your estate to be. And then the fourth option is just full-blown probate. That's where the judge rules over the estate. They kind of look at everything and they go, okay, who's the heirs, who's the creditors, let me pay these guys off. I don't like that one, but it's the easiest route if you don't want to deal with any of that stuff. So those are the learning lessons that we went through on this. If you're going through this in your scenario, or you could foresee yourself going through this and you need some help, please reach out to me, give me a call, text, DM, and I'll be that second brain to help you figure out what to do with this. All right. My name is Jeff Luzadas with Big Block Realty. You can find me at agent619.com, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks.